Today I'm making the brine for my salt beef. So I'm going to share with you my ingredients. I have a cup of coarse salt, and then I have half a cup of brown sugar. And now we're going to start looking at all the other ingredients. So I'm going to start with a teaspoon of ground ginger, if I can open it. I got the ground ginger open, so it's going to be a teaspoon of ground ginger. And I'm quite generous with my helpings. So that's that, and then the berries. We start with the juniper berries. I take 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 on the dot. There we go. And then I have allspice berries. 8 of them. 2, 4, 6, 8. Brilliant. And then some whole cloves. So that's 8 of them as well. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now we're going to go to the mustard seeds. I'm going to have 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds. This is brown mustard seeds. I'm going to have 1 teaspoon of peppercorns. There we go. 2 bay leaves. Well, there's 3 there, so I'll put the 3 in. And then I need some cinnamon sticks, which I'm just about getting. So I'll put this nice cinnamon stick in. Now that's the ingredients for the brine, but there's one that I need to add, and it's a very important one. Now this is this salpeter, or salpeter as we say in Afrikaans. So this is the salpeter. It's potassium nitrate. So you have to put according to the weight of the meat. Now my meat will need 2 teaspoons of this, and that's as much as I'll put. I'll just put a little bit more because I have that little bit more, and that's going to ensure that the meat stays nice and pink. Now this has to be boiled in 4 cups of water. So I'm going to prepare that, and then I'll show you what I've done. Now as you can see, the meat is waiting, and I've got an ox tongue, a beautiful ox tongue, very big, and a lovely piece of beef, boneless beef brisket. And this is the mixture now waiting for the water to boil. Once the water boils, I put the spices in, let it simmer for a few minutes, and then I have to wait for it to cool down. And I'll show you the next process. So once the water starts boiling, you just add the spices, and you're going to stir it through. Oh, I wish you could smell this. This is really smelling. The ginger's coming through straight away. And this needs to dissolve. You stir it through, let it boil again, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes before you let it cool off. Now the brine is starting to boil again, and I'm going to lower the heat and let it simmer for about 10 minutes before taking it off the heat. To speed up the cooling process, I put the pot in the sink. That's half filled with cold water. I'm also going to add once it's sufficiently cooled, another 4 cups of water that I've cooled in the freezer, and then it will be ready to cover the meat with the brine. So now I'm going to put a liter of cold water that I've kept in the freezer for a while, into the brine, and then that mixture will then be poured over the meat, and the meat will then be stored in the fridge for 10 days, 7 to 10 days. I normally wait until the very last before I do anything. I keep it as long as possible in the fridge. Now you have to make sure that this mixture is cold. Yes, that's perfect for the meat. So now what I'm going to do, I take from there and I pour it over the meat. And I have to make sure that the meat is absolutely covered. It's good to have all the spices in there. I'm going to make sure that all that goes in as well. It's already quite full, but there's enough space to make sure that it's all filled up and covered. I will make sure the meat goes under the brine before I put it in the fridge. So putting a plate over it helps to keep the meat under the brine. And now I'm going to seal it with the lid and put it in the fridge. And when that comes out, we'll have pickled ox tongue and we'll have a piece of salt beef, which I will then turn into pastrami. So see you in about 7 to 10 days time.